Thank you.
That's as good as it's gonna get. All right, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning. Presentation I'm talking about today is laying the foundation, strength and conditioning for the high school coach. And I got a little video. This is just a workout with my, that's me talking. This is a workout with my men's, my boys' weightlifting team. So just to give you an idea of what we do and everything. Just getting elbows in.
Elbows tight. Elbows tight.
Were those specifically like post grip bench?
Yeah, that was
no,
that was on purpose.
Yeah, I'm
Post-grip
sure.
bench.
Work. Work.
So we got a decent sized weight room. It's kind of oddly shaped. It's shaped like an arrow.
Let's work. Let's work. Get them shoulders up. Come on, Lily.
So that's a typical day in my high school weight room. The objectives of today's presentation is to first just talk about today's team, what we're facing with them. Also talk about principles and structure, which are important aspects of a high school strength program. We're going to look at some training made simple, some things that I use in the high school setting, and ways to enhance your team. What I also will do with this presentation, if you guys shoot me an email, I'll give you my email address at the end. I'll actually put this presentation in a Google Drive with all my videos and everything so that you always have access to them, or if you want to ask me a question. All right, so a little bit about myself. My name's Coach J.T. Thomas. First and foremost, I'm a Christian man. Love if you guys had a chance to be in there with Coach Frost this morning. Awesome presentation. Kind of just hit home with a lot of stuff. I'm the head strength and conditioning coach at Orangewood Christian School. We're located in Maitland, Florida, which is probably about 30 minutes north of here. I was the head track coach last year, served as the assistant football coach to Bill Gerke, as well as the boys and girls weightlifting coach. I'm a member of the newly formed National High School Strength Coaches Association, as well as a performance enhancement specialist through NASM, former Orlando Predators strength and conditioning coach. Just recently, before they dismantled the team, I'm the owner of Rise Sports Performance, a company I created probably about 2013, so that's 4 years ago. I'm a PN certified, so precision nutrition, work with sports and exercise nutrition. And my wife isn't here this morning, she was here yesterday, but beautiful wife and 2 dogs. Go ahead. I have a German Shepherd and American Bulldog mix, like a short-haired Shepherd, and I have a boxer and pit mix. She's the talker, the other one doesn't want to talk to anybody. She just wants her ball. So, got to give shout outs as you know, I can't learn anything without those that have gone before me, so I have to give a shout out to Coach Bill Gerke, and these aren't in any particular order. Coach Bill Gerke, David Pitts, my AD, Gary Schofield, who helped me with a lot of this programming, Charlotte Gritman, and Brian Binkley over at Kaiser, Stephen Rassel over at Weber International, Ron McKeefrey, big mentor to me. He has an awesome book out right now. My man Ryan right here in the stands. Gotta give him a shout out for just everything he's done for me. Nate Henry over at Sports Enhancement Center, who gave me my first training job. John Garish down at North Broward Prep. Pete Bomarito, one of the top trainers in the nation when it comes to MLB and NFL players. Edward Grayer, excellent guy with speed and agility. If you have a chance, go on YouTube and check out his videos. Tobias Jacoby, he's up at Strong Rock Christian in Atlanta. Let's see, Mike Bewley, men's basketball strength and conditioning coach for Clemson. Daniel Riggs, one of my personal friends who I grew up with, taught me all I know now about training. And Kevin Vanderbush, call him the godfather of high school strength and conditioning. Oh, that's a mouthful. So I also wanted to give a shout out to the newly formed National High School Strength Coaches Association. If you guys have a chance, go on their website. I'll post it here shortly. Awesome organization, just full of strength coaches, just willing to help each other. Here's their website, nhssca.us. They say they make it about us, the strength coaches. They're an organization for professionals by professionals. So they don't have business people coming in. They just have strength coaches that are actually in the field, working with kids every day, up presenting and just giving information. And they also have a Facebook page that is absolutely awesome. Coaches are always willing to share, talk amongst each other on there. So be sure to go check that out. I stole this side from Gary Schofield. Unless your name is Google, stop acting like you know everything. We're all in here to learn. We learn from each other. Nobody has a trade secret. We take one thing from somebody else and kind of make it our own. And it's like, hey, this is what I do. So I'm very humbled in that. And one of my favorite verses is iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17. So let's take a look at today's team, what we're facing today. Here's another slide I took from Gary. High school athlete. Most of your high school athletes, we do all this testing, all this stuff up here are the things that we do. We have estimates, we're running, percentages on these athletes, but we never see, what this kid is dealing with mom and dad. Maybe they're going through a divorce, maybe, they had a big fight that night, now they're coming in and they're exhausted. Brother, sister, rivalries, friends, enemies, boyfriend, girlfriend. These kids got hormonal issues, trying to figure out, if I like girls, if I don't like girls, is this boy want to talk to me, all kinds of stuff. These athletes deal with culture, climate, environment, all these things that we don't see and we can't really test and, put our finger on what's going on. Some of the issues that we currently face, we have the multiple sport athlete. I have kids that go from football to basketball to baseball. I got kids that we convinced to come out from soccer to play football for us, and then halfway through the season, half of them left to go play soccer. So we have a lot of athletes that are just going back and forth. A lot of them are dealing with sports specialization, so they're playing soccer or whatever sport from a very young age all the way up to high school. They're wearing down. Social distractions, social media. These kids are on Snapchat, they're on Instagram. That's all they want to do. They want to be seen. Come on in, coaches, you're good. Motivation levels. They're up, down, all over the place. I can't get enough people in the weight room. They look at the weight room and they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to go in there. You guys are yelling, throwing stuff around. I'm all right. Underdeveloped athletes, not having the proper development, playing outside, running, jumping. They have none of that, and just limited access to them. Kids' involvement currently. A lot of them, like my football athletes, they play 7-on-7, or they're in some type of AAU sport team. They got performance coaches, so they'll tell me, hey coach, I can't do your workout today. I have to go to my performance coach later. I'm training, it's okay. Personal training, and then we call them street agents. So you have those performance coaches that are going around trying to talk to the college coaches about your athlete. And then the college coaches come into the school, and all they really want to know is, does the kid make good grades? Is he going to class? Is he a good person? So we have to combat all that at the high school level. Mm-hmm. Here's a good visualization of what our high school athlete goes through today. They're being taught by their sport coach, their parents, private trainers, the club coach. They have no stability. It's just all over the place right now. Yes, sir.
Coach, how often do you have, or if ever, do you have a trainer come to the coaching staff and say, I'm working with this kid, is there anything?
It's very rare, but I do have one coach that does, we do kind of communicate. It's Coach Hunter Wood. He's the strength and conditioning coach for Apopka High School, and he's also a part of the High School Strength Coaches Association. So we actually communicate back and forth. He has a couple of my athletes that he trains actually. So, and I'll go a little bit deeper into that. Social media. I mean, it's the information age. These kids are tweeting, Snapchat, Facebook Live, Instagram. They're all over the place. That's where they live. You know, that's where they're at. That's where they're getting their information from. That's what they're doing right now. They want to share, and it's kind of peer driven. You know, they want to see what their friends doing, so I'm going to do that too. Let's take a look at some principles and structures. And at any time, gentlemen, stop me if you have a question. You know, as lax as possible. Kids crave structure. These kids probably don't have structure at home, so you know they're craving that consistent. You come in, I come in, I expect this every day. It's going to be like this. You're going to give me this. Like that's what they crave. What we do is we set expectations for them. They come in. I have daily operations. I tell my kids, okay, when you come in my weight room, don't touch any equipment unless instructed. A lot of kids like to come in. I have TRX straps hanging from the ceiling. They'll come in and they'll start swinging them. Just, you know, I'm like, all right, what are you doing? Are you supposed to be doing that? No? All right, come over here. Let me help you out a little bit. I'll make them do a pull-up hold for about a minute. Just start seeing them shaking and stuff. Like, all right, now do you understand? Yes, sir. Okay. Now we can move forward. Just teaching them different habits, creating an atmosphere for them where, creating a nice environment for them. So I created a social media page for our strength and conditioning, classes and all our sports and everything. So I'll share that with you later. Music. We're a Christian school, so I don't allow any cursing music in my weight room. If I hear a curse word, they gotta do a lap for me. Then we gotta turn it off and find something. I meet them halfway because, you know, I know they don't want to listen to the Christian hip hop. They're like, man, coach, what's that? Like, I ain't never heard that. So I meet them halfway by finding edited music or allowing them to find some edited music that we can play that doesn't have curse words, and, you know, we can get the job done.
Question.
Yes, sir.
No,
They're pointing. It's all you.
In terms of the whole music thing, I have had experience in the past where music becomes a distraction because it's hard to talk over it,
Yeah.
or you're concerned with, oh, let me stop the music so I can speak and then address everybody. Because when I was in charge, it was literally me in the weight room, and none of the other coaches were helping me at all. You know, so it's me with 30, 40 kids.
Yeah.
So that was an issue. What advice would you have for that kind of scenario?
Typically what I do, I try, believe it or not, I try to talk over the music, so I'll yell at them and tell them to come here, get them in real tight. If I can't get over to adjust the music, I'm very fortunate to have an Apple Watch, so a lot of times I can just hit pause from my watch and it'll stop the music. And then I can talk, and then I'll start it right back up once I've given my instruction, and we continue like that.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
And the kids understand, like, you have like a procedure in place, like they understand, hey, when coach speaks, like,
Yeah.
because that was, since it was me by myself, this was a few years ago, I was younger and stuff, but still, you know, it was, some kids would be here, but the other kids would be talking or whatever, and then the
Right.
music's going, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, that's just getting them to understand your standard, saying, hey, when I'm speaking, I need your eyes, I need you paying attention. I don't care what's going on around us in the room. When I speak, you need to be looking right here so I can give you instruction.
Turn the music off.
You know, and if you have to, turn the music off and then, you know, speak to them like that.
I don't. What kind
Yes,
of-
sir.
So, basically the same position you are, first year, starting a new program.
Mhm.
How do you go about implementing new standards that maybe 9 weeks in, 7 weeks in, 15 weeks in, you realize you want to add? Do you wait to an end of a semester, end of 9 weeks? Do you try to implement something new right then and there?
Typically, I just try to implement it right there and see how it works. I mean, with me being, it's my second year there, or going into my second year, I started January of 2016. When I came in, I didn't know anybody. I just was like, hey, here's my standards. This is what I expect from you. Here's what you can expect from me. And when you give them kind of that respect level, they're a little bit more inclined to saying, hey, all right, let's see what coach has to say. But a lot of times you have to reinforce it because they're kids. They're gonna mess up. They're gonna try you. You're gonna come over here and push that button and say, hey, maybe I can get away with this. And you kind of got to check them. So that's typically what I do. Establishing relationships. So we talked about those sports performance coaches. You know, if they're not coming to you, we got to find out what our kids are doing with these sports performance coaches, because it doesn't make sense for them to sit in your class or in your weight room saying, hey, well, I'm not going to work out with you, I'm going to work out with my trainer later, and you have no idea what this trainer's doing. So establishing a relationship with those performance coaches can definitely help you say, hey, coach, I'm doing this today, maybe you can work on these things. And 9 times out of 10, they'll work with you. Same thing with personal trainers, parents at my school, because we are a private school and these parents invest money for their kids to go there. Our parents are real involved. I get emails all the time. They want to know what's going on. They want to be real hands-on. So having having communication with the parents is huge. I would recommend just getting everybody's email at the beginning of the season and just constantly keeping communication with them. Like if you guys need something, or you know their child is, you know, you're worried about their child or something. Anything. Parents are going to be your biggest allies. Same thing with the teachers. You know, the teachers may see them a little bit more than you, or you're either teaching them in your class. Having that relationship with those teachers can let you know about test stress or academic stress. Hey, you know, this kid's struggling with this. Can you talk to them? You know, kids look up to us more than they actually do their own teachers. So, talking with athletic directors, you know, trying to get your AD on the same page. I know some of them are old school and don't, you know, really care about what we have going on in the weight room, but just trying to, you know, convey to them, hey, you know, this is important. Boosters and even the non-athletes, establish relationships with kids in the halls. You know, they may say, hey, you know, you're a cool guy, I'll come lift weights for you. We reward the small things. So every accomplishment deserves praise. And I don't care if, you know, you got 10 pounds or 20 pounds on your bench, you know. It doesn't matter to me. Everything deserves praise. Kids like recognition. We have a system that rewards everybody equally. The example that I'm using, I stole this from Coach Schofield as well. We kind of have the similar setup, which is why a lot of the things I'm trying to implement in my program. He has a boxing belt. So every time a person progresses in their programming, and I'll show you how it works in here in a few minutes, they get to come over and ring the boxing bell. When they ring that boxing bell, everybody claps and congratulates them. He has no record boards. There's no stat sheet up on the wall where, you know, you have little Timmy that's probably $120. He's never going to bench 400 pounds. So how's he going to get that name up on the wall? You know, that kind of discourages kids at times. So this is an awesome way to kind of include everybody in the mix. Making connections, again, just, you know, connecting with kids on social media. They like praise. They want to, you know, be posted up on the social media page and everybody can see them doing something awesome. You know, that's what they love. That's what they're doing. Be their biggest cheerleader, you know. Be able to go to the games, being seen. Awesome quote is, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You got to be involved with these kids. Go to other games. Go if they play soccer, go talk to, you know, go out to the soccer game. If they're playing baseball, go see the parents and stuff out there. Walk the hallways. I walk the hallways all the time. I make my presence known. I talk to every kid that I can because I never know, you know, who potentially is going to come up to me and say, hey, coach, you know, I want to join the weightlifting team. Prime example. So this is my girls' weightlifting team. This is them at the regional weightlifting match way out in a town called Frostproof. Does anybody know where Frostproof is? It is literally out in the middle of an orange grove. I have never seen anything like it in my life. But a lot of these girls, it's their first year lifting weights. And just because of the relationships I've established with them, and even posting this picture up in my weight room, I have new girls coming up to me, hey coach, can I come lift weights next year? You know, that looks fun. Like I see them doing it. You know, can I join in too? You know, set the standards from the beginning, spend time with your athletes. That's the only way we can get to know them, spend time with them. Any questions so far? All right, so let's dive into what we do at Orangewood as far as training. Another quote that kind of just brings everything home. People and coaches are incredibly innovative in their efforts in screwing up training. We think, you know, we're looking on Instagram, we're like, oh man, that's a new drill, I gotta do that. Oh man, they got this new machine, I have to use that. When simple works, like basic, simple things for these high school athletes, it works. It just doesn't sell. So you kind of got to take a step back in what we're doing just to kind of, get things back to where it is basic. Long-term athlete development. So a slow cooker. You don't want to train athletes super quick. If they're jumping from, 150-pound squat up to 300-pound squat in a year, that's crazy. We want to slowly develop these athletes. We don't want to just throw weights, throw exercises at them. You want to teach movements. The better they can get with these movements, when they leave your program and go to a college program or wherever they go, they'll have the proper knowledge to perform everything correctly. That college coach is like, man, thank you for teaching them, how to squat, how to bench. Now that takes time off my plate where I don't have to teach that and we can, move full steam ahead. Start with the basics, progress and regress accordingly. If they can't do a bench press, or if they can't do a push-up, I'm not gonna put them on a bench press. It just doesn't make sense. So stick with that push-up until they figure it out. There's no reason to rush them along until, just for the sake of saying, oh, I need everybody to bench. Establish a good foundation. Teach basic fundamentals. Proper squat, hip hinge, bracing your core so that when you're going down in that squat position, your back's not leaning forward or your chest isn't leaning forward and you have that arched back where they can potentially get hurt. Just reiterating more. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Athletes nowadays don't know how to do basic movement patterns. Yes, sir.
Coach, it's interesting that you say that because when you talk about the structure of high school athletics and athletes in today's society, it's unfortunately, I think the term functional training gets lost.
It does.
Because you have that 9th grader that comes in and they're seeing an 11th to 12th grader benching 220, 230,
Absolutely.
or 260, and from musculature development, like you said, not being able to do a push-up, not being able to do a body weight squat.
Right.
And then you have coaches that'll have them do the bench squat. Oh, he's squatting 225,
Yeah.
but once they get to that trough, these kids, like you said, those knees are extended past their toes and they can't do a single leg plow versus, so is there, and it was always interesting to me that there's not a class set up for coaches
Right.
to incorporate that, but you talk about, well, we got to get your CPR training, you got to get your concussion training, and I might be wrong in saying this, and correct me if I am wrong. The propensity or the proclivity of having a concussion can greatly be reduced by the functional training aspect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's hard to get administration. It's hard to get that implemented into a program where people don't value strength.
Yeah, and from a logistical monetary standpoint, BOSU balls, you mentioned the TRX straps, I actually have those. Well, I have ACE, they're not cheap, but
Yeah.
BOSU balls, jump ropes, you talk about your inverted rows,
Yeah.
body weight spot. I mean, I live with those.
Absolutely.
I ask my coach, let me have the 9th graders.
Yeah.
For the first 3 months, that's what we're doing.
That's
We're
all
not
we're
touching a
doing.
variable load.
I'm not doing anything under 12. If I'm doing something under 12 for you, you're gonna be with my high schoolers. But I'm just right now. I'm high volume. These kids need to learn how to properly move.
So I guess my question would be, do you know of any site that I could possibly recommend from a functional training standpoint that would take coaches from point A to G and then they could pick up from H through Z?
I don't know of a site offhand.
I know there are tons of books, but
Yeah, one book in particular that's really good and it's really hot right now is Mike Boyle's Functional Training.
I've had that book for years.
I think he just recently revised it, came out with a new one. But I mean, it's an awesome book. I mean, just basic movements, and then we make programming really, really hard. I mean, it's simple. You have your power movement, you have whatever your main movement you want to work for that day, and you work accessory. I mean, we all know this stuff. It's just we make it harder than it has to.
No, you'll be surprised. I really don't.
I I'll get you first.
Just to kind of answer your question in a way, because I understand exactly what you mean. I just started at a new school a couple months ago after taking a few years of doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And I got there and I saw that not only in the football program, but in the entire school, the knowledge base is extremely low. Like like to the point where I walk into teams training and I'm scared that the kids are gonna get hurt at any moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm legitimately afraid of it. So what I did was I went to the AD and I told her this, and it's her first year also. She's been there a few months longer than I have, and I told her my concerns.
Good luck with
And-
that, man.
Well, no, she was very receptive. So what we decided to do, I kind of had an idea that maybe we can organize some kind of like a clinic for the coaches, like right after school, and then I'm on board and the athletic trainer's on board, and we're trying to find one more person, like another speaker, and just hold like a very rudimentary course for coaches and athletes, just to teach exactly what you were saying, like basic principles and understand the foundation where to start. And she was actually very receptive to the idea, and we're in the process now of getting that going. So
Nice.
start teaching coaches. So
Because
maybe that's-
functional training is
It's not a bad
functional
idea.
training. It transcends all the sports. So
But a lot of
you
coaches
talk about
don't
your
understand
movement.
that, and that's why I went straight to the AD. So maybe that's something that you can consider if you do it in some kind of like a clinic type, or meeting type thing. That way it's not too harsh on the
Yeah.
coaches, but at the same time you're supplying information that they can either choose to accept or keep doing their thing, I guess. But,
Oh, and coach, the book that you have just for the coaches, it's actually an easy read book.
Yeah. It really is.
It is an easy read book. It really is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how do you have that conversation with a 14, 15-year-old boy who benches 205 pounds, right? Can't do the push-ups.
It's hard because they already have.
Can't do the straight push-ups.
Yeah.
But you're already stronger than all the kids in your class.
Right.
How do you make the conversation? I'm better. I can do it with success. Point blank.
It's difficult in that sense because they've already crossed that threshold to where, all right, hey, I bench 200. Like it's more of a pride and ego thing than it is I want to learn. So it's just educating them. And all right, hey, let's have a little contest. If you can out bench, so and so, or out push up so and so, I'll let you bench me. And just showing them like, hey, like here's an area that you struggle in. Let's work on this a little bit so that I can make you better for this. Showing that maybe, hey, yeah, I would. I would get them off the bench. Like an exercise that's in my wheelhouse pretty much every week is eccentric push-ups. I'll have them start in a up push-up position, and they can't go down any faster than 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They land on the ground, use their knees to get up, and I probably rep it probably 10 to 15 times.
So with that example, I wonder what his push-pull would be at that point, because if he's 14 and benching, he's probably lacking on the
Oh, yeah.
backside.
Oh,
I was gonna say, is it a muscle memory thing or something like that?
What's
Muscle
that?
memory?
There's your out right there. So,
I mean, a lot, like I have a middle schooler who is, because we're a K through 12 school, and in the upper campus we have 7th through 12th. So I have a middle schooler. He's not efficient at push-ups, but he weighs 105 pounds, and he's on my weightlifting team. He benched 115 the other day. I mean, some of them just naturally have it, and you can't teach that.
No.
I can't teach that just natural, like, all right, I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna bench 115 just because I got, what do you call it, retard strength?
Exactly.
To be, to be politically correct.
If I may just piggyback off of what you
Yeah,
said, I think
absolutely.
the education process is probably number one.
Yeah.
And just other than a weightlifter, every other sport is going to be, their athletic development is built on more than just one exercise.
Absolutely.
So you applaud the 200-pound bench press, but you explain why the push-up is still important, or any other exercise in the program, and what that's going to mean to their performance on the field, and then hopefully they find value in that. I mean,
Absolutely.
but it's education, just like you said.
Yeah,
It's number
definitely
one.
got to educate. Let's see what else. Make it simple for the athletes to grasp. I did a presentation yesterday on just basic football movements for youth football athletes, and even with them, like coaches want to do like all these advanced drills that they see in the NFL or college. Like for these kids, you got to keep it so simple. it'll make your job so much easier because now you don't have to think. You already know I'm going to do these exercises and I'm not getting away from them until they can show me that they can do them in an efficient manner. So one thing that I highly promote that you do, if you don't already have it, is start a strength and conditioning class. Right now, I currently have 2 high school classes where it's just weight training, or either I have a fitness lifestyle design where I'm teaching them, you know, just basic lifestyle principles like making a calendar, reading labels, stuff like that. And then I have 2 middle school classes. I have a PE class and I have a conditioning class where I have opportunity to work with these athletes and show them, hey, like, let me get these basic principles down with you in a class setting. I'm working towards getting 4 high school classes and maybe handing the middle school classes off to someone else so that I can get more athletes in there. Because that, you know, you can't do everything after school.
No.
I mean, it's impossible. So you have to get them when they're at school. You got to get them during that day. If you can maybe have a couple of weight training classes where you can get a group of athletes in, you know, they bang their workout in, out in, 30 minutes. You've already seen them, you're cool. So I would highly recommend trying to start getting weight training classes. Again, start with the basics. Another quote I stole from Gary, grow in depth before you grow in width. So don't have all these exercises that, it takes you a long time to teach and implement and you have to watch them constantly. Start with being good at the squat, being good at a push-up, being good at a lunge. Be really good and efficient at that, and then you can always progress from there. Just like I said right there, progress and regress as needed. So a chart that I use that's actually, if you go on Facebook and request to be added to that group, they have this chart, and I know it's hard to see, they have this chart in one of the files that you can actually download. And basically all it is just regression and progression of different movements. So bilateral knee dominant, right? Bilateral knee and 2 knee dominant. So just toe touch with deep squat. So coming right here, toe touch, and then go down, my knees are going down to a deep squat or a body weight squat. So progress from there to a body weight squat. Then you can add a little weight to go to a goblet squat. All right, they can't do a goblet squat, let's go back to that body weight squat. So this is an awesome chart that you can put up anywhere and just say, all right, I can progress and regress from here. We'll give you a nice little roadmap.
What's that Facebook group again?
Facebook group is called it'll be NH, National High School Strength and Conditioning Association, so NHSSCA.
Coach, I know it's 2017. I don't have Facebook, so could I contact?
Yeah, I'll put this chart in my Google Drive. So if you just shoot me an email, I'll send you it'll send you a link that you'll have access to. Everybody got an email, right?
No.
Well,
No.
No.
My kids in school got an email.
my wife won't have Facebook.
I understand. That's cool. That's cool. Some guidelines to follow again. I'm just reiterating everything. Keep it simple. Don't load bad movement patterns. Make them earn the right to squat and clean. Have that standard where, all right, you need to be benching 1.5 times your body weight in order to bench, or you have to have a certain number to be able to squat, and just progress them accordingly. Track your progress. So be fanatic on tracking everything. I'm real bad at it, and I'm trying to get better at tracking, but I have so much going on that, I got all these athletes, and it's just hard to track. So that's something that I struggle with, but I'm working on it. Reward everything, progress and regress as needed, and just have progression guidelines. Yes, sir.
As far as like setting like a standard, like outside of the push-ups and all that stuff, when you actually get to the weight and the bars, what I wanted to do was develop maybe 4 core workouts, maybe bench, squat, deadlift, or just something like that. Is there any specific ones that you recommend as a foundational set? These 4 and then maybe then as you progress, like then you get to the cleans and stuff like that.
Like for example, with squats, if I'm gonna have them squat with any amount of weight, I'm putting a box underneath them just so they can get used to going a certain depth. And because you know a lot of kids, they'll go down, they don't know where to stop. So I give them an aiming. So I work my squats like that, front, back, goblet squats. I'll throw a box underneath them. And I'll actually show you a video here in a few minutes. With the cleans and stuff like that, unless they're my high school weightlifting team, I typically don't like them to clean because there's not a lot of movements that you'll do in sport where you have to pull a weight up and clean it up here. So if anything, I'll have them do pulls. So I'll just go through a pull progression. I'll teach them to pull from the floor, so I'll teach them to hinge, dip those hips, stand up. We may do that with a wooden dowel or a PVC pipe. Then once they get that, I'll progress from there. Teach them the RDL, then the deadlift, just drop the weight. Just progressing them through like just the different components of a clean without actually catching. Teach them high pull, so holding the bar here, hang, so you're teaching them to pop those hips back, pull through triple extension. You know, you use triple extension in pretty much every sport. So just teaching them those little things without actually going all the way to the clean. And I mean, that's just what I do unless they're my boys and girls weightlifting team. I'll catch you first.
Just going back, bucket squats and box squats, are they equivalent, correct?
Equipment, you said?
Equivalent, are they basically equal? No?
It just depends on the athlete's knee hinge. So a lot of, like if you have a taller athlete, you may have to raise the box or to put something there where when they go down, their thighs are parallel.
Okay,
But yeah, I mean, it would typically be equivalent, or a chair.
Yeah.
A chair would be equivalent.
correct.
Yes, sir.
I agree 100% with what you said on the like progressions into pools as opposed to cleaning, especially when it comes to sports. It's not functional necessarily to have to
Correct.
do cleans because it's very complicated.
Correct.
But I'm sure that you've have had struggles with head coaches specific that want numbers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this guy's put this much in cleans, you know, but you're saying like, hey, I don't want them cleaning because there's no point in finishing. So
Right.
what do you say to somebody who is like dead set on having like quantifiable data? You know?
Again, educating them, or I'll give them a deadlift number. I mean,
Okay.
you know, I would educate them on, hey, if I have your athletes cleaning, they have more potential to get hurt by trying to catch this weight on their shoulder than if they're just deadlifting. You know, the deadlift part is the most important part because that's where all your power is coming from anyways. How fast you can move that weight from the ground up into the air. You know, so I would personally just educate them. I typically, or right now, I don't have that issue. I do have a lot of sport coaches that are on board for what I'm trying to do. I'm just low in manpower or man hours, so that's what I struggle with. Yes, sir.
Just give you my opinion.
Yes, sir.
When college coaches come to see me, they rarely ask me how much a kid benches,
Yep.
squats, or deadlift or whatever.
Absolutely.
They don't ask me what he runs in the 40.
Nope.
They will ask me what he runs in the 100
Yeah.
if he's a track athlete.
Yes, sir.
They ask me about their home life and their grades.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, a lot of this little combine showy stuff, at least in my experience as a head coach, I never get asked that by college coaches who are looking at my kids.
You're absolutely right.
So, I mean, that's where safety, to me, like the power clean, it's a hard exercise to me. It takes years for kids to get that stuff down. Some
Yes.
kids are naturally good at it.
Yes, sir.
But I have a small weight room. I don't have room for all that.
Yeah.
And I just want to get the basic lifts to make that kid a better football player, so that can translate on film, and he can get that college attention.
Absolutely.
But these little street guys who
Exactly.
turn into personal trainer, you know, they going out spending thousands of dollars on equipment and laser 40 time, and I just don't get asked those questions.
Right. And you're right. I mean, and to combat that, like, we have to put our own information out there. We have to just as equally, you know, these free agents and they're putting out, oh man, this kid just ran a laser this.
Right.
Like, we have to put out information too so the kids can be like, oh man, coach
Right.
knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over here with my coach.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
At with the school I work at, there's
Some coaches are stuck in their ways because they're not willing to learn.
Are you the head coach?
He's dead serious.
Are you the head coach?
No. Our
Okay.
head coach goes ahead, but he's the strength coach of our school, so we love the head football coaches. Because he's strength coach in every sport.
Yeah.
Man, don't get
I'd be willing to talk to him.
I'm trying to ask a question here.
I would be willing to talk to him, or it's at the end of the day, they have to be willing and open to learn. If they're not, then
There's no like good book that states it or a website that just states it.
no, because again, it's all
Relative.
yeah, like I don't allow my athletes to catch. This coach over here may have an awesome way to teach it. He may want to catch. I mean,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Sorry to cut you off, brother.
No, no.
But in his situation, is it a possibility for him to go in and with a health issue where some of his kids, not being properly trained how to power clean, they may be susceptible to injuries down the road?
You would have to prove it, kind of. It'd be one of those things that you would kind of have to prove
Yeah, I
by
agree.
filming them and watching them and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, coach, by your kid catching, he's not getting that bar all the way up. It's landing right here on his
Correct.
bicep."
Correct.
Yeah, and another problem is if he's adamant about it, he's probably sure he's teaching it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
He done got one or two kids in school, they gonna keep him. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
In a small weight room, when it comes to teaching pools and stuff, when you don't have as much space, how do you feel about teaching pools with dumbbells as opposed to barbells, or maybe like a mix? Like, what do you recommend for that?
I would mix it up in that instance. Like, for example, we only have one set of dumbbells, so I obviously can't have all my athletes with dumbbells, but I may have, have what, 12 bars, and they're all different weights and sizes, so I may just have them use bars, and my kids who don't quite have it yet, I might have them use dumbbells to get that unilateral effect. So, I mean, dumbbells they're an awesome tool as well. Movement assessments. So, again, you gotta assess your athletes. You gotta know where they're at and where you're going. So one thing that I use that I've learned from being a part of this organization is about the dynamic warm-up movement screen. It's awesome because it incorporates the FMS. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the functional movement screen. Just, it's a screen that tells you whether or not, you're efficient in like hip flexion, hamstring strength, different things like that. I think I left it up here. Yeah. So this is, it didn't come up. Hold on. There we go. Can you guys see that? No?
Something coming.
Let's see. Let me do this. All right. All right, so this dynamic movement warm-up screen. It's awesome because it gives you 10 basic movement patterns, and you actually can watch your kids progress through it, and they have a checklist as well as exercises to strengthen those trouble areas. So for example, inchworm downward dog. Has a video here, explains what it's doing. And I don't work for him, this is just what I use.
Now, would you use this in the weight room before a workout?
Yeah, I'll pick one or two exercises every workout and just implement them if it'll play.
There you go.
So basically he's doing what's called an inchworm downward dog. So the kid, I'll hop up here so you guys can see. So he's coming down, he's walking up into a push-up position, walking up into or actually he'll be in the downward dog first, then walk his feet up to the inchworm, and then continue the process. What you can see is if they have good T-spine mobility, you get to see their hip flexion and hamstring strength. So, but there you go.
Cash just had a picture.
Observe the range of motion and ability to extend the lumbar spine, really arch and set that back, in combination with abdominal and hip extension. Then, as they transition to the inchworm, monitor how closely they are able to walk the feet up to the hands without bending their legs. Specifically, in the downward dog position, we want to look at lumbar extension. If the athlete experiences any low back pain in this position, the dynamic movement assessment should stop immediately, and the athlete should be referred to an athletic trainer for diagnosis.
So,
One observed
just for sake of time, so you guys get the idea. So they have these 10 movements that they use, and you would just progress through them, and every day you can actually monitor how well they're progressing through it, if they're getting better, if they're getting worse, and then they actually have corrective exercises that you can implement in your workout that they can utilize to strengthen those trouble areas.
What's your dynamic warm-up, coach?
Typically, depending on what's going on in that day, I only have anywhere from, in a class, I have 50 minutes, so usually take about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll do 2 exercises twice, depending on, what we're doing that day. I do a lot of T-spine stuff, so I'll do some T push-ups. We may do some YTAs with bands, just strengthening that posterior and lateral deltoids. We do hip circles, so I'll make them go through a whole hip circuit where they're doing fire hydrants, circles forward, circles backwards, just to.
So if you got an after-school football team weightlifter, we got time. We got 2 or 3 hours. Or 2
I'll
hours
go through a full dynamic warm-up.
You'll go through the full.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm doing skips, I'm doing crawls, I'm doing, high knee pull to single leg touch. I'm going through a whole dynamic warm-up progression. I think I have mine on a Word document. I can throw into my Google Drive as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is hilarious to watch high school boys. And those knees being so much. That's hilarious.
Absolutely. I know I'm running short on time, so let me try to run through this real quick. I think I got about 5 minutes left. Proven results. Just record and track everything you have. Share it with people. So share your information. Like, hey, since Billy's been working with us, he started at 100 pounds. Now he's at 120. He's benching, whatever. Like, share that information. That's what's gonna kind of reiterate and back up what we're trying to do. So the APR programming, it stands for Auto-Regulatory Progressive Exercise. The original person who created the program is called Mel Sift in a book called Super Training, but Brian Mann, who is the strength and conditioning coach at Missouri University, I believe, University of Missouri, actually has an ebook that's about $10. You just Google it, and it's an awesome book, super easy read. And basically, we go through these different protocols based on our goals. So if I got this new kid who just needs size, who's kind of new to weightlifting, I'm gonna put them in that APR 10 so that they can increase in size. APR 6 kind of is a balance, and APR 3 is strength. The 10, 6, 3 is kind of the volume. I only use these with structural exercises, so I'm only gonna use them with squats, deadlifts, and bench. I just put a couple of videos on here to kind of show. Oh, that's terrible. Do some unilateral bench pressing, some split squats. So you see that chart right there on the rack?
Yes.
So that's the chart that they'll follow as they're going through their movements. So what that chart looks like is like this. So real quick, depending on what area we're trying to, or what our goal is, say I'll go off the APR 10, I'll either get a 5 rep max, and depending on if they're efficient at it, I may get a 1 rep max. I'm gonna use 70% off of that 1 rep max, and we're gonna progress through this program. Now the cool thing about this program is it kind of lets you know where they're at. So for example, it's a total of 5 sets. They'll do their first set at 5 reps at 50% of their 70% max. Not their 100%, but their actual 70% max. Everything is based off of 70%. So let's say their 70% is 200, they're gonna bench press 100 pounds. Then we'll go 76 for 5 reps, and then they're gonna take that 200 pounds, and they're gonna try to shoot for 8 to 12 reps. Depending on where they fall at on that set range, or on those reps, let's say they get 11 reps, I won't let them lift any, I won't let them go any higher than that. They can't adjust the weight anymore. They're gonna do 9 reps, and then 7 reps. Depending on, let's say for this 4th set, they only get 8 reps. All right, now you only got 6. So you guys kind of understand that? At the end, over here to the left of the chart, now they adjust their weight. So for the following week, let's say for example, he did 11, 9, and 7. For the next week, we're gonna go up 5 pounds. Okay, with those 5 pounds, you know, let's say we come back next week, we'll do it all over again. He'll get 12, 10, or let's say he gets 10, 8, and 6. Well, now I know that he's right in that proper range that he needs to be in. We're gonna keep that weight the same. Make sense? It's an awesome way to kind of auto-regulate how they're progressing as they go along in the program. I'll also have a copy of that in there. Also use the tier system, so I actually put the exercises and stuff in the tier. Joe Ken, who is the head strength coach for the Carolina Panthers, has a book on this. It's like $24 on his website. Super awesome. Here's what a chart looks like. So I have 4 different tiers. I'll go total body, which you're gonna have, you know, like a deadlift or something like that. Lower body, upper body, accessory. And it'll just, the 4 different tiers, they can't move to the next tier until it's done. And then down here you'll have your structural exercises that they can do for the corrective stuff off of the dynamic warm-up movement screen. Basic movements, push-pull exercises, accessories, movement correction, bracing hip hinge. Same stuff that we guys know, we know this stuff, so just showing you how my different athletes go through it. So we'll do a push-pull, so push. And I have these hanging from an actual I-beam because we don't have anywhere to hang them. So these are awesome, teaches stabilization. Yes, sir.
Going back a couple slides when you had that template up, do you print that and only have it for yourself, or do you have that per kid?
Right now, I'm trying to decide if I want to have it for each kid or not. But I think I am going to go towards that just because it'll teach them ownership, and then it'll be easier for me to kind of record everything and put it in an Excel spreadsheet. Then we'll turn right around. They did a pull. So teach them keep that core tight. Don't let it sink. Chest big. Pull your chest up to the handles. Accessory exercises, our trouble areas are shoulders, knees, low backs, and ankles. You know, all the joints. So we'll do some 10, and these are my middle schoolers. So we'll do some 10-pound plate raises, work on those shoulders.
Would you do that with a squat?
You can.
So I do it. That's what I was asking.
Movement corrections. So one thing that I use a lot of med balls. So I'll have them bear hug the med ball because I don't have any like sandbags or anything like that. I'll make them bear hug the med ball. What happens is when they bear hug that med ball, it'll teach them to brace their core. If I see their arms go down, then I know they're not bracing their core. And you see how the gentleman over here, you see how his arms are facing down? That's how I know that his back is rounding and he's not keeping his core up tight. So just little simple things like that, gentlemen. let's see, hip hinge. So I don't have any kettlebells, so what I use is I use a med ball and just teach them just proper hip hinge. You know? You have to, everybody's tools are different. Some people have a budget, some people don't, have a budget. So I have to use what I have. And then we have a bunch of body bars, so we'll use those as well. I'll make them sit in that hinge. Some are good at it, like this little kid right here, he's a hockey player. So he travels all around and plays hockey. He's one of our football players. He just actually has some knee issues because a lot of them are going through growing pains and growing at a much accelerated rate than their body can keep up with. Real quick, enhancing your team. So enhancing your team, a lot of these kids don't eat. My kids even though I'm at a private school, they eat like crap. We have KFC coming in, Jimmy John's, all kinds of stuff, man. So one thing, and it's fairly cheap and an inexpensive way to kind of do it, you can go to BJ's or something, buy some cheese sticks, buy some chocolate milk, some bread, peanut butter and jelly. Give these kids at least a decent meal after their workouts where their body's able to recover quicker. That one meal can make a difference, as opposed to they're going to McDonald's right after practice and eat some crap, At least we can control one thing. Getting a strength coach on staff. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys are passionate about strength and conditioning, some of you guys are passionate about football, but having that strength coach on staff kind of takes that off of your plate and gives you somebody who's passionate in the field, who is sitting down studying this stuff as opposed to football stuff. I highly recommend trying to get a strength coach on staff. Fundraising. It's one of the main issues that we all face. We all need new equipment. We need new things. So trying to find new ways to fundraise. Old school way, you go out, have a car wash, or have the kids out there with the helmet, with the jersey on, trying to, get donations and stuff. Us at Orangewood, I just implemented this shake program called Critical Reload. It's fairly inexpensive. You can get 24 servings for $25. It's $1 a shake. I got it from the guy from Clemson's University men's basketball team, the strength coach. He actually created it. There's no vitamins in it, no minerals. It's a 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio, so it's specifically made for post-recovery. 40 grams of carbs, 19 grams of protein, only 4 grams of sugar. Get this in the kids, they're able to recover a lot quicker, and it tastes like chocolate milk or vanilla wafer. So what we do is we actually have a shake program. I'll either sell it to them at $3 a shake, or I'll do a monthly package for $50. They'll get a shake a day, 5 shakes for a month, 20 shakes total. Your cost for these shakes, you either get them at $1 or $1.50 with the bottle. They actually have a bottle that they come in, or it's loose powder and then you fill up the bottles. So my profit off of each individual shake, I'm making $1.50, and off of each monthly program, I'm making $20. The guy up at Greater Atlanta Christian, Gary Schofield, he implemented this program some time ago. He makes on average $24,000 in a year for his program, just for strength and conditioning. So I was like, man, that's awesome, because 1, I get to put good stuff in my athletes. 2, I get to make some money. I put all this money right back into the program. I don't take any of it, because it's about my kids. All right, so wrapping up my presentation, I went a little over, but Coach the other day showed this, and I just thought it was an awesome slide. I don't know if any of you married, dating, whatever, but most important thing, you gotta have foundation. When you both move closer to God, you move closer together. Just keep your home life happy, man. It's something that I'm learning. I got married March of 2015, so it'll be 2 years March 11th, so it's something that I'm constantly learning. I'm passionate about my kids, but my wife's more important, so make sure you take care of that home life. Here's my contact information. Hope you guys can see it. I got my strength and condition Instagram up there, also my personal one, phone number, email address. Shoot me your email, or shoot me an email so that I can add you to that Google Drive, and I'll put the slide as well as this video and any other information you guys need. I'll throw in that Google Drive.
JT Thomas at
J Thomas at ocsrams.org.
And when you test them, what's the lift that you test?
Usually I test them on bench, deadlift. Not a big fan of squat, just loading their spine up unless they're ready. If they're ready for it, then I'll test them on squat as well. We'll do a broad jump to get the power output. What else? We have a Vertitech, but I'm not sure how to use it. I gotta look that up. But those are typical, the basic movements we
No
use.
clean?
No cleans, unless they're on my boys' weightlifting team.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Football players wise.
Even football players. I mean, my football players are beating their shoulders up all day, so why am I gonna keep throwing a bar on them? I may have them do a triple extension high pull from the floor, so you're right here, boom. Because really all I need is the triple extension phase of the actual clean. I don't need them to catch it. So I would do a deadlift.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
When you test, do you do 1 RM or do you keep an open rep range and you challenge them to go like a certain amount?
Typically I'll shoot for 5, depending on, like for a bench, I'll shoot for 5. That way I don't have to load their nervous system with just this large amount of weight, and they can actually get in there and I can actually see them work the reps. So I'll typically on bench, I'll shoot for 5. Deadlift, I may do 1 or 5, just depending on who it is. Every athlete's different, so I kind of just see where they're at and then record accordingly. And then I'll use a rep estimator to kind of see where they're, let's say they do a 5 rep max, yeah. And then I'll apply that 1 rep max. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry I kept y'all so
Nah,
late.
hey, listen, man, we'd love to get you where I'm at, but we couldn't pay you, man. We couldn't pay you.
Hey, I'll come up there, man. Where you guys located?
Come on over to Bartow there. Come on.
Okay. Hey,
Bartow High School?
yeah, it's nothing, man.
Bartow
I'll
High
drive
School?
down.
Yeah.
They ain't too far
Oh, the
from
home of Odell Higgins?
Yeah. Yeah, Odell come through, man. He'll get guy.
Well, I drove down to Fort Lauderdale and met with John Garrett. He's on Instagram, man. He's
Yeah.
a real good dude, man. Real knowledgeable.
You know, I would love to. I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
My name is Michael Burns.
All right.
If you said 904, pop up. But I'd love to get you to come over and talk with our coach.
Absolutely.
Because, you know,
Appreciate it, coach.
Hey, thank you. Thank you
we're
for your time.
idiots in high school. I mean, we really are.
Well, you know, you're good at what you're good at. You know, like if you're a football coach,
Well,
you should be good at football.
that's not it. The issue is they don't want to learn. It's just I got to know how much he bench, how much he squat, how much he. But it's a building block. And
Yeah.
like you said, static stretching. I don't understand why. Literally, high school coaches still static stretch.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Right off the bat, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Hey, thank you, man.
I don't understand either.
And so,
thank
nah,
you.
man, my cousin, he played at Michigan, man.
Oh yeah, you told me about it the other day.
Yeah, man. You know, he's over in China now, man.
Yeah, him and I read something. Him and Devin Gardner.
Yeah,
both
yeah,
were-
circles over there.
Yeah, man. I wish Devin Gardner would have knew how to play back then.
Now, remind me, I'm sorry, where are you at now?
I'm at a gig with Coach.
Oh, that's right, yeah, that's right, over there.
I appreciate it, man. I was a little nervous. I get nervous, man.
Good job.
Definitely want to pick your brain on some stuff.
Yeah.
That APRE,
Yeah.
what you got there, how you use
Hey,
it.
man, I just wanted them nice shirts.
Oh man. No, not me.
I got it from
I tell
Gary.
you.
Yeah, I have. I'm just curious. I have. Let me turn that camera.
Yeah, no, you're
You hit stop.